I'm a cotton-headed ninny Muggins. If you get that quote, you're going to like today's show. Quote's actually on my mug. I'm a cotton-headed ninny Muggins, and it's my elf mug. And yesterday, November 7th, was the 20th anniversary of the movie Elf hitting the theaters. That's right. It opened in the theaters on November 7th, 2003, 20 years ago. And it's become one of the classics of modern day holiday movies, right up there with the best of them. Many people, I know our family included, watch the movie every year during the holiday seasons. It's definitely one of our favorites that we watch every year. Just an excellent holiday movie. I want to talk a little bit about the movie, maybe give you a couple little things that you didn't know about the movie, so you'll know next time you watch it. If you've never watched it, I'm going to encourage you to take a peek at it this holiday season. I appreciate you joining me with Coffee with Alain. As always, I want to thank everybody that shares and comments and listens to the podcast, and all of you are very important. And I do this hopefully to give you some education, to entertain a little bit, have some fun. That's what we're doing today. It's not all about safety and self-defense, because I want us to enjoy life. So today is a little bit about some enjoyment as we enter the holiday season. Tomorrow I'll be back with a couple new scams and frauds. Talk a little bit about that to help you keep you safe during this holiday season. And sometimes I just like to give you some things to help you be exceptional. That's what the show is about. That's what the newsletter is about. Be sure you're getting that newsletter. You can sign up at enjoylifesafely.com and get that every Sunday. You'll also get some other things to help you stay safe. Let's get back to Elf. I'm a cotton-headed ninny Muggins. Going to share a few facts. Already shared that it came out 20 years ago yesterday. But here's an interesting thing. The director, Jon Favreau. Many of you might know him as Happy, if you're a Marvel fan. The Iron Man movies, the Avengers movies, the more recent Spider-Man. The character Happy, he is who directed the movie Elf. And if you watch that movie closely, he plays the doctor that they go and see. James Caan's doctor, that's the director. But he's also in the movie in another little spot. He is the voice of the walrus that Elf talks to before he heads to New York. So the voice of that animated, walrus type character, that was Jon as well. So he plays the doctor, he plays the walrus voice, and he directed the movie. And he's Happy in the Marvel universe. And he's done a whole bunch of other things too. Pretty talented individual there in Hollywood. The cast of Elf, wow. Could you pick a better person than Will Farrell? I don't think so. Even though I did read, they were looking at other people. And I'm just so glad that they chose Will. He was perfect. And I think that's probably his most outstanding role out of everything he's done. Definitely, it's the most classic that people watch over and over again every holiday season. But they surrounded him with an excellent cast as well. James Caan, tough guy father. Ed Asner played a great Santa. And Bob Newhart playing Papa Elf. I read an article where Bob said that was one of his most enjoyable films and a legacy film, even though he had outstanding television series, both the Bob Newhart Show and Newhart and other movies. Elf stood out in his long career, and he played that character well. And he said it was interesting that he and Will got along great and cracked each other up. But a lot of times when they were filming, they couldn't even see each other's eyes because of the tricks that they used to film. They would put Will here and Papa Elf here like they're together, but to make the size difference, they were actually 10 feet or so apart. So it looked like they were close and that Will Farrell was way bigger than Papa Elf. But in reality, the way they film some of that stuff is they have them really separated, and they use that illusion to make it look for the size. And so when they were actually filming together and talking to each other, they weren't really talking to each other. And I read the one scene where Papa Elf is behind Will. He's actually way behind him, and it's someone else's hands on Will's shoulders to make it look like they're there together. So it's interesting how they do movie magic to do things. As I've been involved in the Yellowstone TV show and other television shows and movies, I've always fascinated with how they can create things. And when you see the final product, it's nothing like what was really filmed and what it really happened. And they make it look so well on the screen for people. One of the keys in Elf that I just loved was Peter Billingsby's character as the lead elf. And he had that small role as the lead elf in Santa's workshop. But if you're not familiar with Peter, Peter was Ralphie in A Christmas Story, the 1983 classic, which I love. A Christmas Story I watch every year as well. Often on Christmas Day, I get up earlier than the rest of the family and I turn on the channel that has A Christmas Story, and they repeat it all day. And I'll turn it on while I'm doing stuff on the computer and doing things and let it run. So I'm watching it over and over. And when the family gets up and we're opening presents, that's still running. I love that movie. And it was just so cool to see Peter in that elf movie as the head elf. So that was just sort of a cool little Easter egg thing that I thought was cool. For those of you don't know, Peter reprised the role of Ralphie in 2022. And the movie A Christmas Story Christmas. He was all grown up and had his own family and so forth. And I watched it. I liked it for nostalgic reasons because it was Ralphie and his family, and they had things that related back to the original movie, but it wasn't as good as that original movie, just not the classic that A Christmas Story is. So I don't know if I'll watch A Christmas Story Christmas every year like I watch A Christmas Story, but it was cool to see it for nostalgic reasons and to see Ralphie grown up with his own family. Want to say good morning to Dixon. Will is also iconic as Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. Yep, I agree. Will Farrell has done so many great movies. I mean, a comedic genius from his Saturday Night Live skits to his movies. Brilliant comedian and comic actor for sure. But I'd have to say Elf is my favorite of all of his. And probably in the world, Elf is the most popular of his just because it's a holiday classic for so many people. And again, other people like Kyle Glass had that little part in there. If you're not familiar with Kyle, he and Jack Black, are the singing duo and have their movies, Tenacious D. So it's cool to see Kyle in that little role. And then Peter Dinklage. What a fantastic actor. Peter Dinklage is so awesome. I mean, Game of Thrones. Wow. He was incredible in that. And he's been just great in a lot of things. But playing, Miles Finch in that movie, the angry elf, that was just such a classic scene and such a classic line. He's an angry elf. So the movie is just full of great one-liners, great scenes, make you laugh out loud. And it has a really good message at the end. We got to believe. So it's a feel-good movie. It's a funny movie and just one of the classics. And it turned 20 years old yesterday. It was released 2007. It was released November 7th, 2003, 20 years ago. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I hope you have a chance to watch it this holiday season, laugh a little, enjoy a little, forget about everything else for a little while, and just be caught up in the escapism that movies can provide us and the enjoyment that they can provide. Hope you watch it with somebody that you care about, loved ones, family, whatever, friends, and just have a wonderful holiday season as it's starting and kicking off. And for all of you cotton-headed Ninny Muggins out there, make it a wonderful Wednesday, and we will see you tomorrow.